Hello.
Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 282. It is Sunday, the 3rd of January 2016. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Laura already took my part about saying the date. Um,
Sneaky like that.
so it's the end of the sort of off and on holidays here, for me anyway. And for you too,
Yeah.
you go back to school tomorrow, right? Yeah, so does Kobe. And I am really glad he's going back to school tomorrow.
It's not even a teacher work day. It's just like usually we have a teacher work
Yeah.
day, just straight back, which is fine.
Um, so even though I've been off, I was off half a day Thursday and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I still have very little. It looks like I have very little knitting, so it is
But
what
you've
it
been
is.
knitting on that Citron Grand for a
Right.
long time, and those rows are super long.
Yes, right now I have almost 800 stitches on my needle, so.
That's amazing.
Anyway, we
You want
can
to go first since we're already chit chatting about your knitting?
sure. Um,
You keep looking to the side. Is the Citron Grand going to attack you
no,
like a
you might hear
giant
ambient
jellyfish?
noise. There was, we had a leak in the roof of the basement. I don't, something with the fish tank caused a leak. I don't know.
Oh,
So Michael fixed it, but he's got a drop cloth up to protect my yarn while he was doing the, like, re-spackling the roof or whatever. And now the dog has pulled it down and is walking on it, so.
this is
So,
why we can't have nice things.
for real. So really the only knitting that I've got to show you, I have been knitting just a bit on these blank socks, but really only a couple rows, so that really doesn't even count.
It totally counts. Even a stitch counts.
Most of what I've been knitting lives in this bag. This is one of the Bling Your String
Yeah.
sock, or
I'm impressed that you can fit.
yeah,
It's her small one that you can fit that entire shawl in there.
well, it scrunches up pretty well. So this is out of handspun, single ply that I spun. It's a loop bump. The bump was originally called Smitten. I got 872 yards. I got my tag still from when I soaked
Do you
it.
want to talk about how you spun that?
I don't really remember. I just remember that I spun it as a single ply. So I
And then
made,
you fold it, right?
yes, and then I fold it. So when it was still a single ply, I didn't want to ply it with anything else because I wanted to keep the color repeats because it was a gradient.
So you
And
probably added less twist on purpose.
yeah, I didn't add quite as much because I knew that I wouldn't be working that twist out by plying it in the opposite direction. So it had less ply, and you can kind of see that on the yarn. It's a little fuzzier than most finished hand spun, at least of mine would be. So when I was finished with it, I wound it off onto a skein winder. I tied it in like 6 places
Oh yeah.
because it's super energized.
I am a super fan of lots of
Yeah,
ties.
it's never
Can we
gonna.
talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
Like, I like my yarns to be tied at least twice,
yeah.
if not more.
Any
And if
hand
you have
spun, I
something
do
with
it
lots of
3.
energy,
Yeah.
yeah. With all my handspun, I do 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have something with lots of energy, definitely more ties are better.
And it's funny because I'm really thrifty about certain things and not at all about others. But when I put on a new skein of yarn, like a commercial yarn, and wind it into a cake, it's already been tied with ties. And so when I try to undo them versus cut them, if I can't, I still cut them, but then I'll try to reuse them when I tie off handspun.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know
So I
why.
have one of those things of like those, what is it? Like, it's not a ball, but it's like crochet cotton comes on like a tube.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have one of those, and that's lasted me like not only tying my handspun, but also we use it at SSK to do the tags for
Oh
the
yeah.
tasting room. So between 2 SSK tasting rooms,
It's
or
like
try,
grandma's crochet cotton. It comes in this
yeah,
like cylinder sort of.
yeah, I've used it for years and it hasn't run out, and it won't take like it doesn't absorb dye, and it's
Right.
cotton, so it's easy to cut off and find those
Yeah.
ties, especially when you're felling or felting. Anyway,
So, in order to keep this as a single, I fold it, which basically means I shocked it. I had a tub of hot water and a tub of cool water, and I
and so
had
maybe
thick gloves. Huh?
Did you use like dish detergent with it
I don't
or soap?
remember. I watched Jasmine and Gigi's visual featurette, Unfolding It. I'll link that in the show notes. Whatever they said to do, I did. I can't remember if I used soap or not. I don't think I did.
I think I used soap once, and then it shocked it more than I wanted to get the soap out.
Mm,
But then I used soak, which
yeah,
is a different
a
non-rinse product,
non-rinse. Mm-hmm.
and that worked fine.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm on the last color, but there's a whole lot
yay!
of the last color.
How many
Like
grams do you have left? Do you
I,
have a scale?
I don't have a scale right here, and I haven't weighed it. I have enough to do at least a full repeat, maybe more, even with the fact that it's taking so much to do a repeat. So all right, um, I
Let's
finished
see
a
if it's
row.
stretched out.
I finished a row earlier, and I had sort of half-heartedly timed it based on when I answered Laura in a text message, and then um, how long it took me to finish a row, and it
I
was
was
like,
wondering why there was such a gap in
yeah,
your text messages
and it was
today.
like 30 minutes per row because I've got almost 800 stitches, and so
Because I
this
texted Leslie and I was like, "When do you want to record?" Like,
dot
aren't
dot
we
dot
just been
dot
chatting?
dot dot, yeah. So this is what it looks like now. This is really only a quarter of it. It's bunched up because I don't have it on a full size, like huge needle. It's
That's just though.
4 millimeter US size 6 needle.
Are you keeping that?
No,
Really?
I'll either give it away or it'll be an SSK raffle thing.
Ooh.
It's not my colors. I mean, it's nice, and I actually am enjoying knitting it, except on the row after the knit front and back every stitch. That one's not my favorite, but I actually don't mind knitting it. I can't see myself wearing it. So I'm in the ruching section. So this section here, that's where I am up
Where it
here.
doubles your stitches.
Yes. I'm in section 8. The new pattern calls for 10 sections. I don't know that I'll make it the whole 10. I can see me making it at least to the ninth section. I don't know if I'll make it through the ninth section. After I get through the ruched part,
Does it have garter or something on the bottom edge to
I
keep
don't know. I
it?
haven't even gotten that far.
Okay.
I'll start weighing how much it takes me per row after I decrease back down from this. That way I can sort of get an idea of how many more rows I've got out of it. But I haven't done it yet because I still have a nice healthy chunk left.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pleased with the sparkle. As always, Steph of Loop, she uses sparkle sparingly, but it well.
Things, but it's not like
It's not
oh,
overwhelming.
I feel
Yeah.
the sparkle. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. So
Pretty.
that's mostly what I'm knitting on. I didn't start a row because I knew I would never finish it before we got to talking. But now I can knit on it because now it's your turn to talk.
And you have your sock link sock as well that
Mhm.
you showed. Awesome. So I am knitting on well, all right. So I'm actively knitting on two things, but I have a lot of things to talk about, if that makes sense. So the very first thing that I am knitting on, let me get the sock blank blocker, is I am knitting on a Carlos and Arn sock, and I finished the first one. So there's the first one. Oh! Sucker, slippy. So it is for my sister, so it is quite large. She wears a size woman's 11 shoe. So that's the first one. And then the second one, so much stuff I'm running out of space, is past the toe increases, but not by much. So I'm knitting these on size 0 needles, and they are a total of 64 stitches is what I have going on these ones. So
So
yeah,
is Beck very specific about what type of socks she likes? Like Matt, her husband, is?
No, because she's like, oh, free socks.
Yeah, I can see that.
She got the original, not the original, but like the second pair of the Afterthought heels with a difference that I ever did with the short rows in them. She, out of Desert Vista Dye Works, Zian, which is her sparkle base in the green something, she got those for Christmas, and she likes the afterthought heel with a little bit of short rows, but
Mm-hmm.
she's not real. Like Matt likes either an afterthought heel or gusset heel, flap heel.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't talk about what heel this is. So this is the Wendy Johnson toe up with gusset heel. So it's you increase out on the bottom, and then you decrease up here, and that's what forms the heel. It's really a clever pattern, and Wendy is so kind. She has all like a spreadsheet of all the different
Mm-hmm.
numbers on her website under free patterns that you can download. But her books are excellent as well, and that's one of the heels that's featured in her books. So that is the first thing, and I haven't even woven in any ends. This is going to be my detention project for Harry Potter, hopefully, and I need to get going on it. Oh, and I have this Arnie and Carlos came in the 50-gram balls, so that's nice because I used almost all of the first one, and I
Mm-hmm.
know exactly how much I have left without dividing it in half. So that's the first thing I have on my needles. The second is a shawl from Infinite Twist. This is a kit. It's called the Behind the Sun Shawl by Kate Carter Evans. You can find the kits on Infinite Twist, and I've linked that in the show notes. It is being knit on size 8 needles. It is out of their handspun. So it's got this kind of like big purple, which is 150 grams.
I love the heathered look that her hand spuns
Yeah, it's
all have.
pretty. And then it's got two other. So this is the color I'm working on now, and then it goes to this, and then it goes to that, and then there's like this ruffly bit at the bottom. Let me show you what the picture. Not ruffle, but a border at the bottom. It looks like that. So that is what I'm working on right now. I'm knitting it on size 8 needles, and I just got into what is this? The third wedge of 5. So, and I think it's gonna block really, really big. It's quite
Mm-hmm.
dense at this point, and it's getting pretty long. It's at around 150 stitches. So, and we have one of those kits to give away, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So that's what's being actively knit on. I swatched for a lot of stuff for Harry Potter House Cup. So I'm involved in the Harry Potter House Cup, and one of the things that you do with that is you can propose an owl, and an owl is an advanced study. So it's a project that takes like 3 months, or a
Mm-hmm.
group of projects that all come together that take like 3 months versus 1 month, or 2 months, or 4 months. So I am doing 3 projects. I'm doing the history of magic owl. And so one of the options is option 2 is like inspired by characters or places from Harry Potter. So my first thing, I don't even know what's in what bag. Oh, my first thing, and I have a swatch in here somewhere because I swatched them around. Everything's living. So this is one of the bags by Awesome Granny. And a book bag seemed appropriate.
Oh yeah.
But like everything's in here except my swatch. There's my swatch. So I swatched in the round. This is for the Kid Owlet sweater. Look at how wee that swatch is.
It is.
But it was enough for me to really figure out what gauge was. And that's all that matters. So I'm knitting this for Julia. I knit one of these years ago for Julia when she was a baby owlet. And now and Alice is wearing that one now. So now I'm doing the size 7 to 8. Let me show you what the pattern looks like, because I think I have all that pulled up. It is a Kate Davies pattern, because apparently I am obsessed with her right now. It looks like that's the baby one. So it's got those owls at the top. I'm not doing buttons for eyes, mainly because I don't think Julia likes them, but also because it's a lot of sewing of buttons. So it's a yoke cardigan. You start at the bottom, you work your way up, you attach 2 sleeves, then you do this owl yoke, and then you are done. And I'm knitting that on size 9s and 10s. It calls for 10s and 10s and a halves, but I had to go down. And I got some Brava Bulky in the last Knit Picks sale. So it's kind of like a dusty,
Kind of a lilac.
yeah, grayish purple. And the niece is like grayish purple. I'm going to add some length to it, both in the body and in the arms, so it will last a little bit longer. These are going to be their Christmas sweaters for next year.
Wow, look at you on the ball.
I have to be on the ball because I cannot do what I did this year again. I still owe Christmas presents to 2 people, so I got to get on that. So that's in my bags by Awesome Granny. The second thing is in my Fat Squirrel. This was an SSK bag. I almost did a knitting pipeline bag. And this is going to be inspired by Luna Lovegood, in case you couldn't tell by the color. It is a sweater for Alice. It is...
Puddle duck?
Yes, Puddle Duck. And it's not on my... Did I not download it on my thing? It's downloaded on my phone. Hold on. It is the cutest little pattern. It's got these pockets. Now I have PDF Expert on my phone because I got a larger memory on this phone. So I have it everywhere. There it is.
That's cute.
So the bottom is pockets that's like hemmed over.
It's very cute.
It's going to have long sleeves if I have enough. I did not get gauge. So I was having serious gauge issues. So this is my gauge swatch. And you can kind of see, you can see me through it. So it's a little bit already on the loose side, and this is going down some needles. I like the weight, though, of this. It's not, like, too loose.
Yeah, and it's not like she's not going to have a t-shirt on under a sweater.
Yes. But if I went up another size, that would be an issue. So I'm getting too many stitches per inch. So I would have to go up a needle size to fix that. And that, instead of getting 4 stitches per inch, I'm getting 4.5.
You could always do math.
I did do math. I'm going up a size.
Okay.
So instead of knitting the 6-7 size, I'm knitting like the 7-8 size. So I'm going to make it have long sleeves if I have enough yarn left over. I should have enough yarn left over. Like, the size that I'm knitting it in calls for 500 yards, but I have a different gauge, so I should be okay. Like, I should have more yarn versus less. Does that make sense?
I would follow the yardage requirements for that size up. Is that what you're
Okay,
saying?
so that size up is, instead of 425, it's 500, and these
Yeah.
are 560. So I'm hoping to have enough to make long sleeves. But we will cross that bridge when I come to it.
If not, how are the pockets done? You could always do the pockets in like an alternating color and match it with the cuffs.
Well, it's like hemmed over.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if it has to be 3/4 sleeves, that'll be fine. That's not a big deal. I'm going to use one of my Christmas presents. Very excited. So I got some signature DPNs. So that's the second project, and that's inspired by Luna Lovegood, because obviously she needs pockets and crazy color. And then the last thing is the In Love with Spiders, the Melanie Berg pattern. That's a knit along with Little Skein and Big Wool. And I'm knitting that out of Sunshine. I did have a swatch for this, but I ripped it out so that I could use the yarn. So that will be a shawl. So my halfway point, what I have to have done by the end of February is this shawl, and then the owls up to the armpits. So not the sleeves, just the body of the sweater up to the armpits.
Better get cracking, lady.
I know. So that is everything that I have on the needles, but I did fix 2 things today. So I have had, you can ask Eloise, these socks have been sitting on like my kitchen counter for like 2 years for me to fix holes. So for me to darn. So these were some lollipop yarns with Afterthought heels, and I had completely like ripped a stitch on the side, and it had run down. So that got darned. And then while I was messing with them, and I don't think I did a terrible job. While I was messing with them, they had all these like fuzzies on them.
From pilling.
From pilling, because I'm pretty hard on my socks. So I used the new gleaner. They sent us like the travel gleaner and the original gleaner. So this is the Travel Gleaner. It's the box that it comes in. And I pulled out, it has all different, like, I wouldn't say they're blades. This one's more like sandpaper. But I used the fine one. And all the rest of the ones are in there. What a clever design.
Oh, that's cool.
Pop them in and out. So it's more like sandpaper than like a blade, and you just brush it with that, and then you use the little velvety bit to get
to pick up all the little bits.
Yeah, to pick up all the fuzzies. So I did that with this. So that was the first pair of socks I fixed, and these are going back in my sock drawer. I'm so excited. And then I had these, which had felted quite a bit, but there was a spot on one of the heels where there was a hole. There it is. I can find it really easily because you can tell that the yarn's faded, which I would expect because these are old. So there was a hole right there. So I darned that and de-pilled these, and now they are ready to go back. I might wash them since they've been sitting on my kitchen counter so long. They might get a washing tonight, and then they will be back in the sock drawer.
Look at you.
Yeah, that was one of the prompts for Harry Potter House Cup. The Quiddy was to either repair stuff or make bandages, which people are doing like blanket squares, or rip out projects and reskein the yarn and wash it. So you could do up to 2. Those are my 2. I'm done with it. So that was the first round of Quiddy. The second round is like use animal or plant fibers. So that'll be super easy. I have a finished object. Do you have any finished objects?
Not knitting wise.
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You can go ahead and go.
Okay. I finished the maze, which is a Tin Can Knits free pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Little glovelets out of Mission Falls, 1824, which they don't make anymore, unfortunately, in color 4. I just had the thumb on one and the bind off to do, so I finished those up this afternoon while listening to the Steelers game, and I'm going to wash these tonight, and hopefully they will dry. Hopefully. And then I will give them to her tomorrow or the next day. So
who is her?
One of my coworkers. Yep. So they were knit on size 6 needles. It was a cute little pattern. For me, these are the smallest adult size because she's got teeny tiny hands. They're still probably a little bit big for her, but I would need length. I would prefer length here and length on the cuff. Yeah, they're cute. Nice little gusset. So those will get soaked and ready to gift. So that's all I have that's finished. But you have some cross stitch that you need to talk about.
Well, I've already sort of talked about it, but it's finished and officially ready to be mailed off tomorrow. So I figured I would show it in its finished form.
Hey.
And you guys have seen both of these already, but so
you're not going to show Jess's?
I am, but I'm going to give a warning first, and I'm not there yet. So this one's for Lynn.
You know she's going to watch.
And I put the backing fabric on it as well.
Oh, that's super cute. I like the backing fabric you chose.
And because I didn't have torty colored floss, I tried to just mix like orange and brown to give it a torty, because all of her cats are torties.
You didn't do the pink nose.
I didn't change the pink nose, no. So there's that. Then there was Laura's, which is all quotes from The Princess Bride.
Oh, super cute.
It's also finished on the back.
Oh, I do like that fabric. That's
so it's ready to hang. This part was super tedious, by the way. But it's done. Huh?
Why is it that super tedious?
Because you're putting a square piece of fabric in a round hole. So you cut it down, and then you do a running stitch through the fabric, and you pull it tight so that it scrunches in. And then you have to cut this to the right size, which you do by taking the inner ring and drawing a circle on the fabric. But then you have to do this blanket stitch around the edge and get the fabric underneath.
Oh.
So it's kind of a pain in the butt. There are other ways to do it. Like some people get a piece of felt instead of fabric. That keeps it from fraying, and you can do like a thin line of hot glue and glue it down. You could do that as well, but I decided to go with what I had at the house, which was sewing it. So
there you go.
Next is Jess's present. So Jess, if you don't want to be spoiled, then you need to fast forward and close your eyes for about a minute.
But we'll still talk about it.
We will.
You should have Mike fast forward it.
I don't know if Mike will know how. Hey, Mike. Yeah, it's live. It is, I promise. No, there's a button, the fast forward button. Our friend Jess's husband Mike asks if this is live frequently.
All the time. Sometimes I do like video call her though.
Yeah.
So it is live.
So I decided. So Jess is sort of a unique animal.
I hope she doesn't fast forward now so she can see this.
Jess is kind of a unique animal among my friends because
she's so polite.
She is very polite, and I am not
rude.
I am much more polite on this show than I am in any other interaction, aside from maybe conferences with my son's teachers. I cuss a lot. I'm vulgar, and I can be offensive. And so when I was looking for something,
it's good to know yourself, though.
When I was looking for something to make for Jess, she doesn't have pets, so I can't really go that angle.
She's definitely afraid of poop, which was my...
I could have cross-stitched poop, but there's a line that I'm willing to go, and cross-stitching excrement is just not there. Her favorite movies are movies I've never even seen, so I couldn't really go with that. So I had to find something that was kind of cute and quirky without being offensive. And...
she does like to sassy walk.
She likes to sassy walk, and she does like jazzercise and stuff. So what I ended up doing was I cross-stitched. This is
and we tried looking for pandas because she's obsessed.
Yes, but there really wasn't anything cute and
we need the
quirky.
People who make cross-stitch patterns who watch the show to do a cute, quirky panda cross
with a little bit of attitude. So this is what I ended up doing, and it's out of my way world. I'm wearing my sassy pants today. And I was a little concerned because this looks like, the crotch is smiling, but that's what the pattern had me do. And I think, it looks fine as long as you're not, like, super close looking up at it. But it was an odd size, so I couldn't frame it. So I had to go with making a pillow. So Jess basically is more trouble than all my other friends.
What is that?
And I just sort of made up this pattern for this pillow, and because I didn't want to do a zipper, I did snaps, because snaps are superior in every way.
Pillow form in there, right?
Yep, I just put a pillow form in there.
I agree with snaps on pillows.
So this way she can put it wherever she wants. She can be sassy and wear her sassy pants. The pattern I got on Etsy for like $4, and it took a lot more time than either of the other patterns. I guess because you have to, there's all this outlining that you have to do, and all this is, solid color. So, anyway, I've never made a pillow form before. Now I have.
That's cool.
So, that's the only finished thing I have. I have some spinning, but you go talk about your stuff first.
Okay. I've been processing a ton of the Ross Farms Romney. So my day has looked like this. At night, before I go to bed, I stick 4 ounces to soak in my sink. And then I wake up and I start processing wool. And I get the first batch done. I get up around 7, typically, when I sleep in. So then I get the first batch done.
I got up at 11:15 today.
I don't I have to be up at 5:30 tomorrow, and it's going to rock my world in the worstest of ways. So then I get it takes at least 3 washes, 4 rinses, 20 minutes. It's not like I'm standing over it doing it, but, every 20 minutes I have to get up and do it. So I've been reading in bed or knitting, and then every 20 minutes I go, hey, Siri. Okay, she's sitting over there, but she didn't do anything. And I have her set because I'm super lazy now that I have Hey Siri, and she does everything for me, and I tell her how much time I want on my timer, and she just does it. It's magic. But I set those socks on top of her, so she couldn't hear me.
Don't tell Siri.
So I get up every 20 minutes or so, change out the water, go from washing to rinsing, and then it's done, and then I grab another bag, and I set it to soak for 8 hours in my sink, and then I go about my day, and then at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, I come back and start washing that batch, and it's just been a cycle. So I've gotten around 2 pounds done, I would say. Um,
So
I've really learned that I can't put more than 5 ounces in at a time.
is this more efficient doing a cold wash first versus starting straight with warm water?
Um,
Or is it just easier based on like how
what
you're
it's
doing it?
doing is, so this is an older fleece. I got this at SSK 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gotten to the point that it's kind of hardened. So what it's doing is it's softening
Okay.
the dirt and poop a little bit
So you're doing
before the
this
first
as a way
wash,
to not inflict damage.
to get it clean without having to do like 20 washes.
Yeah, okay.
Because before I was doing this, I was having to wash it 5 times and then rinse it 6.
Hmm.
So this saves a little bit on my water bill.
Okay.
A little bit. So, and really, if it was summertime, Leslie and I had discussed just filling like a giant Tupperware, like the
Rubbermaid
big, like
things. Mm-hmm.
Rubbermaid gallon bins with cold water and just doing it outside. But I still have feral cats, and I worry a little bit about. Plus, like, I know myself, some days I forget about it,
Oh
and
yeah.
it sits there a little bit longer than I anticipated. So, not necessarily with the fleece, but with like washing wool socks, because I hand wash all my wool socks, and by hand wash I mean I stick them in a sink in like a dishpan
Let them soak in the.
and let them soak in the soak.
Mm-hmm.
Or the wool wash from, oh, I really like that wool wash.
Tucked
Is it
woolens?
Allure?
Allure, yeah, that's from Bijou
Bijou
Basin.
Basin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I like that as well. So I let them sit there, and sometimes I forget about them, and they sit longer than the hour or so that I anticipated.
Yeah.
But that would be bad with fleece, because I don't want to do a suet mixture. A suet mixture is when you have like a big gallon container and you use rainwater, and it sits there for like months,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep it covered so that mosquitoes don't form nests or lay eggs or
Yeah.
whatever. But fleece has this natural like soap in it, so if you let it sit in rainwater for a long period of time, it will self clean supposedly. But you use that same water over and over again. The more
Yeah.
fleece is washing it, the better it's supposed to get.
See, for me, I would start that, and then 3 years later, I'd be like, "What is that tub of water doing out there?"
What is that smell? I think you would smell it before anything
Not if it
else.
sat outside.
You don't think you would smell it on your deck? See, I never go out my back except to mow my lawn.
Yeah,
so
it's
I
just
never know.
I go outside to call my dogs in. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So washing wool. I've been washed like 2 pounds of Romney fleece. And then I finished spinning because I was trying to get my bobbins cleaned off a little bit. It's still wet. That's why it's sitting over on my terrible towel. I finished spinning my honky tonk from Three Waters
Ooh,
Farm.
that came out really nice.
So it sat for a long time. There was a long, so it's a little bit thicker towards the end than it was at the beginning. But I like it. It was spun on my lunchroom. I started it in June, I believe.
It's got a very country feel with like blue jean denim and that brown.
Yeah. I did it, I do remember splitting it fractally. So it was spun fractally. So that way there would be more of, like the barber pulling
Mm-hmm.
between the colors. So there's a gray and a teal and a light brown and a dark brown. And this was the honky tonk colorway. This is for our sale. Leslie spun hers like super chunky,
Mm-hmm.
and I spun mine super fine. This is 680 yards of a 2-ply out of 4 ounces. So it's not the finest that I've ever spun, but it's definitely like a light fingering.
Yeah.
The last thing that I've spun, and this is for the prize today.
You've had a very eventful week.
Me?
Yeah.
See, I feel like I haven't done crap. But thank you. Is I correspond some Christmas lights, or they're dewdrop lights. So, hold on. Here they are.
It's really pretty.
So I used a Hobble Tihoy batling. It took like half of one batling. And I coarse spun around the wire. And this is around 9 feet of lights. And you can do whatever you want with them. It's bendable wire, so you can do whatever. These are only indoor use. And I linked the lights. This brand, I really like this brand. Like I like the Philips because they're indoor outdoor, but they were way more expensive and they were a little bit sturdier. But the light switch on them was much
Yeah.
heavier, so it was a lot easier to spin
And
these ones.
realistically, if it's been spun with wool, you're not going to leave it outside.
No, probably not. So I linked where I got these on Amazon, and it used like half of a hobbledehoy batling, like one little batling. So it doesn't use much. These are batlings that I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool a couple years ago. Becca is gonna do, I think, a kit with these.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool.
yeah, and I told her she should do frozen colorways.
Mm.
You know, so like people with kids could put the frozen colorways up in there. I thought it was
That would be cute. I mean, yeah, if the intent is for it to end up as decoration in like a daughter's room that's got that, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
I'm just
Child's room.
so over Frozen, and I've never even seen it. I'm so over it.
Really?
No.
I like Frozen. I like Tangled a lot better, but Frozen's okay. I like the music. And then I spun 4 ounces of Clun Forest Roving from Knitspin Farm on my Shack Reeves, and it's in the middle of plying, like it's sitting on my mini spinner, like half plied.
Yeah.
My intent was to get it done before the Steelers game today, but Starbucks messed up my drink, and I had to wait 20 minutes before they told me that they didn't have it, like the syrup that they needed. So it kind of ate it into my time. So
blame it on Starbucks.
It's a good thing my drink, like I was already using a free drink thing, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but it ate into my time a little bit, my plying time. And when I listen to the Steelers, I listen to Steelers radio, and I listen in here on my laptop because I don't pay money for the app. So, because I can listen on my laptop for free. Although the amount that I listen, I really should just get the app. Then I can have it on my phone and go everywhere. I can take the laptop everywhere, and I have in the past, but now this laptop has like our not only my headphones, but it's got like our microphone.
It's like grown into the desk in that place. It's got
really
it's got
has.
barnacles on it.
It really should not be a laptop. It should be like a PC, like entity forest of computers. But that's all I spun. But you started spinning your bin, right?
I did. So between Laura and Lynn and Jess and myself, we had sort of picked out 12 things that I wanted to spin this year. I hope I spin them plus other things, but basically setting the goal that I want to spend these things this year. I didn't declare it in the CTA group. I didn't declare it anywhere. It's just a sort of personal challenge. I did have to substitute a couple of things that had already been spun or that I ended up selling a while back.
Because we were going off of your Ravelry
Yeah.
page.
And while it's updated, it's about 10% off. Some of the things that say they're there are not actually there. So I had to update a couple things. But I did intentionally put 3 braids of fiber optic, the merino silk blend, into the list because I tend to collect those and never spin them just because they're beautiful and I'm afraid
I have that same issue.
mess them up.
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to start off the year with one of those. Just go ahead and get one out of the way. So I spun on the mini, the Hansen.
Yeah.
And I've already spun both
There you go.
2 separate ounces on this one and
So
2
are
ounces
you
on
going
this
to
one.
wind off so
Yes.
that you start? Oh, that's a good
Yes.
plan.
So
Elaborate.
I can already tell that I spun this one slightly thinner than this one. And I can tell that based on the thickness here in the middle is slightly more than it is over here based on the way that I wound it. You may not be able to tell that. This is the Something Wicked colorway. It's actually like a purple to a dark gray to a black to a light or to like an olive green and then to this bright green. The purple's underneath so you can't see it. But yes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these on a lazy Kate, and then I'm going to bring over my ball winder and I'm going to wind each of these singles into a cake. so that in the center will be this.
Do you have the quill attachment for your handspun?
Uh-huh.
Why don't you get one of those cardboard bobbins and just put that on the quill attachment and just wind off onto there? That way you'll have less tangling. Like you would wind a weaving bobbin.
I could do that. It's a good idea. Maybe
That way you'll have like, because my center cakes always tend to collapse.
Yeah, no, you're good. That's a good idea.
Yes. You have those cardboard bobbins from Shacked, right?
Yes. Or I could just wind it off of this onto another Hanson bobbin.
Yeah, you can
and then
totally
ply
do
it.
that.
So basically what we're talking about is, I can't remember where you found the information, but Laura told me
Somewhere
that
in Ravelry.
a lot of people, when they spin gradients like this...
That was from Maggie Casey.
Oh, was it?
Yes, Lynn told us that from Maggie Casey,
Okay.
that when you spin two things and you want to match up the colors,
Mm-hmm.
they always start the same. So you're better off winding off and starting the same
Yes.
versus right now you're at the end and they're gonna.
It's only going to get,
mismatch.
it's only going to get worse. So basically what I'm going to do is, since I started spinning at the purple, I'm going to wind this off onto either another cake or skein or something, so that when I start to ply, I'm plying both purple ends together to start with, so that it starts out matched together. And
Are you gonna cut if it starts getting off?
it depends on how off. Like if it's just a difference of a couple of yards, yeah. But if it's like hugely different, I may not. We'll see. I'm going to play it by ear. But the idea is that as it varies, it's going to vary less if you start with the ends that match the starting color. Versus,
how many yards do you think you're gonna get?
Not many. I mean, I would maybe 300, because I didn't intentionally spin it super thin. I just spun it at like a light fingering single weight. So,
what do you have any plans for it?
Nope. I don't like to make plans for things that aren't finished yet, because I always disappoint myself.
That'd be cool to weave with, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My only problem is then when I wind for weaving bobbins and it's a gradient like that, I tend to mess it up. Does that make sense?
Well, my whole problem is I'm always afraid that what I want to do isn't good enough for the yarn.
But you could warp with that because it's got the
Mhm.
silk. And if you apply it pretty tight,
I've wanted to do a plaid for a while, and actually we just got a new book, or I did. I don't know if it's gotten to you yet, from Story.
I like that book.
On rigid heddle
Yes.
projects. So I haven't even opened it yet.
Oh, I looked through it last night. It's really picture heavy, which I like and neat for weaving. So I actually got out the flip yesterday, and I was I think I'm going to wait I'm actually going to warp the flip, and I'm going to do it. I know, by myself.
It's not hard. It's just tedious.
No, I'm going to make, because you really need two people. Like, it's easier if you have two people at the end when you're winding it on or whatever. And I have that Slots and Holes DVD by Liz Gibson that that goes into warping rigid heddle looms. So I got that when Hank went out of business. She had like all the DVDs 50% off, so it was like $6. So I got that then, and that goes into it too. But I might actually warp, and I can have Eloise help me when she comes over.
Oh, did Eloise just find that out? Sorry, Eloise.
Or Gail, or Joanne, or Loelle, or Jamie, or whoever. I bet you Jamie would really like weaving. I should get her hooked up on that. Jamie is my friend who works for the crime lab for the state of Mississippi, and she does primarily cross-stitch.
Mm-hmm.
But she does knit a little bit. She's knitting, she's been knitting the single row yarn harlot scarf at knit night for around 3 years now.
Well, she hasn't given it up. Good for her.
I know. She's doing a really good job too. But she doesn't. She's got 3 wild dogs, so she can't knit at home because they tend to destroy things.
Yeah, I'm lucky. My pets don't care unless it's like a ball of yarn. Man, Buffy loves a ball of yarn. Buffy is our rescue sort of pit bull. Who knows what she is? And then my one cat, Sammy, who's a jerk,
And she sneezes on you and her snot smells.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. We've taken her to the vet. Vet says she's fine. Anyway, um, if you leave out clean wool like to dry, I've had to change the way that I wash wool now. But if you leave out clean wool like to dry on the table, I would lay out towels and stuff. She'll pee on it. She's just like, oh, I need to mark my territory here. So I've had to change it. So now when I dry the wool, I have these clear tubs, and I have these like fold out cookie cooling racks.
Yeah.
And they fit right into the tub. So I put the wool on top of the cookie sheet, put the cookie sheet in the tub, and then put another tub crossways on top so she couldn't get in, but there's airflow.
You know what else you could do? You can get an extra like curtain rod type thing for like Kobe's bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get those sweater dryers that hang over there, because she can't really get up on those because they collapse. And you can just dry it in there. But then if it doesn't get dry quickly.
I love how you assume that my son showers daily. That's pretty funny.
Well, you could do it in your downstairs guest bathroom too.
Yeah. Okay, enough about my house and animals.
Okay, we have a book to review.
Yes.
It is super cool. It's New Lace Knitting. It is by Romi Hill.
It was put out by Interweave and sent to us for review.
Yep. It retails for $24.99 in the States, $27.99 in Canada. So Interweave was generous enough to send this to us. We are super excited because Romi is going to teach at SSK this year. And we actually have a knit along going on in the SSK group for door prize tickets going through the end of January. That is any of her patterns. So that's very cool. And if you're going to SSK, you're welcome to participate. And if you're not going to SSK and you just want to knit her patterns, can't give you door prize tickets, but you're welcome to join us as well. And there might be some
cheer you on
that you could use. Yeah. So this is all about lace. And the very first, right after the introduction, is rules for knitting lace.
Mm-hmm. And she's got, 10, I'm sorry. General rules.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite of all these, a lot of them are very common sense things. You know, it'll block out, keep track of your repeats, things like that. But my favorite is number 7, learn to read your knitting. I think this is especially important in lace knitting because...
super hard in lace knitting, too.
It can be, but I think it's also really important because it can be easy to drop one stitch and fix it if you can read what happened versus ripping back a whole row. I learned this on the Even Star like the hard way. It is so much easier to fix a problem if you can read your knitting.
I would agree with that. So the very first chapter is all about, it uses feather and fan patterns. And the very first one is the Talus cardigan. The Talus cardigan is sized from a 32 3/4 all the way up to a 49 1/2. So very decent sizing there. It tells you what size it's shown in. It uses a light fingering weight. The yarn that they use is actually a breed specific yarn, Sincere Sheep, which I really like her stuff. So it is this feather and fan pattern at the bottom and then like a garter top band. But what's really interesting to me is the back.
Yeah, she gave it sort of a different spin. I like the alternating colors as well. Yep.
And you could obviously do that all in one color if you wanted, but it goes farther down in the back than it does in the front, which is really interesting. There's nice clear charts for different sizes. There's a schematic. There's also like how to choose buttons for lace weight garments, which is really, really helpful. Like choosing light buttons versus heavy buttons. That's very, very important with any garment, especially knitted garments, I feel like.
I like the Neoma shawl. I like the way Feather and Fan looks. I detest knitting it. Yeah. But I do appreciate what she did in this pattern where she's got separate colors. Layered. Yeah. And she even gives you a peek as to what it looks like on the underside when you pull up one of the colors. Cool. I like that she incorporates not only these two colors, but the stripe to sort of introduce that alternate
And it
color.
really gives it a three-dimensional look.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice styling on that too. Like the way it's styled over the single color garment really shows off the shawl.
Mm-hmm.
And there are multiple pictures, including close-ups, like Leslie showed you throughout the whole thing. Next is diamond patterns. So anything that has like a diamond motif. I really like that cover sweater a lot. It's probably my favorite thing in the book.
I agree, but it doesn't. It only goes up to 44 3/4 inch
It does.
bust size, so there's no way I could make that work without doing some major math. But I do really like this sweater, especially like this detail.
I like the I cord.
Yeah, of this it separates the stockinette collar here with the lace band. I really appreciate this detail that clearly delineates and gives you a focus point.
I also really like that hem because that hem gives it a little bit more texture towards the bottom that balances at that top part as well. So that's a really pretty one, and it's out of a sport weight yarn. Lots and lots of charts in this book. It is primarily, all the patterns are charted, so if you are not a chart reader, this is a great opportunity to learn how to read charts.
Yeah, and there are small projects in here. We're not showing you every single project in the book. There are small things like cowls with a simple repeat that can sort of dip your toes in the water of chart reading.
There's the fallen leaf shell.
I like that. I like the simplicity of the collar.
Yeah, it goes from a 34 3/4 all the way up to a 56. It's in a lace or light fingering weights. It actually uses Swan Island, which is a gorgeous yarn. It is knit on size 2 and size 1 needles. So it is more of an investment, but it would be a nice layering piece especially.
Yeah. Especially,
It also
with your
talks about
simple, solid colored shirts, this would be a great layering piece.
Oh yeah, and it talks about blocking decreases in here to make sure that they are lying flat, which is a great hint in that area. Chapter 3 is all leaf and trellis patterns. And the very first shawl is a good example of a leaf and trellis pattern. It is the Oak Flat Road shawl. It is a one-size shawl out of fingering weight.
Yeah, and it's a really substantial shawl. It's very large.
I like that there's a lot of large shawls in
Yes.
here. It's not just little
and I like
shawlettes.
that on that one especially. It's a very manageable lace pattern for the main body of the shawl. It's something that you could easily memorize. Short rows or short repeats rather, and easily memorized.
There's also the winter wheat shawl, which is more of a half circle.
I do love that top section with that lace.
The sunburst almost.
Yes,
I
that's...
like that a lot. That uses a cashmere actually, Art Yarn's cashmere. It's 56 by 24, so again, good size. And it's knit on size 4 needles, so it would go pretty fast. It's got like a picot beaded bind off that goes around the whole thing. So if you're new, it's just a little bit of beads on those very tips.
Yeah, just to give it a little weight and a nice drape to it.
She goes into choosing beads. So that's really cool because we all need help with choosing beads. At least I always need help.
Oh yeah, I can never pick on my own.
Chapter 4 is a twin leaves, which is a leaf motif section. It's got this cool cloche.
Yeah, I like the cowl too. I like that the leaf becomes part of the construction of the item with the cowl and with the hat. And the hat is knit in a really cool way.
Yeah. So lots of pictures to demonstrate how the hat is constructed, which is super helpful. Nice clear charts again. But I like those figures to really help you understand the construction on something like that. That's pretty much essential. Wind and Shore is chapter 5. There's this cute crystal bay shawl, which uses, you can choose the size based on the weight of the yarn that you're using, it looks like. Or there's different varieties. There's 5 different yarns that you can use. So it's adjustable. by changing the weight. Yep. And it's a print of wave Shetland style shawl, which is probably why I like it, because I like those shawls a lot.
I am surprisingly really like the Willowa cardigan.
Me too.
It's worked side to side primarily for the top, and it's a very loose buttoned top item with lace on the sleeves, a really deep dropped sleeve there.
It goes from a 37 up to a 58, and it's knit and fingering weight. It would be a great layering piece, especially for down here. But yeah, I think it's super cute.
It seems like something you could get a lot of wear out and something that is casual enough to wear without feeling like you need a special occasion. I feel that way with some of the things that I make.
Yep.
And then I like this Secret Cove cowl. It's got some short rows in the construction so that it sits on the neck nicely. It's slightly higher in the front than it is in the back. Here we go. And it's only one skein, so you could use that coveted skein of cashmere or
or that special vacation yarn that you got. Chapter 6 is twining lilies. Whew. Reading fonts sometimes. I don't know. My favorite from that section is the Little City Tea.
Me too, yeah.
It's comes in sizes 33 1/4 through 48.
Yep.
And it's got this really pretty, it's hard to see in that picture, this lace detail that is up at the top.
Yes, right at the neckline.
And then the back. Now, the only thing that might bother me is there's a little bit of poofiness on the sleeves, but not terrible.
Yeah, and you could probably pretty easily change that if you wanted to. But I do like the yarn that she chose for this. It's got a slight amount of sparkle in it, which dresses the top up a little bit.
I just bought a skein of that yarn.
Oh, did you?
Yarn Garden Serenity Glitter Sock? Yes, I did. I only bought one skein, though. It's a little bit... It ranges around, I think I paid like $35. So it would be a little bit expensive to use in a sweater for larger sizes.
I think it's overall, it's got a lot of really great patterns in there. It's not just... When I hear about a new lace book, I typically assume it's going to be shawls, cowls, and maybe one...
But this wasn't the case. And it wasn't the case with the picnic book knits one either.
Right. Yeah, no, it's got a lot of really great thoughtful pieces. It's not just the lace is thrown in to make it fit in with the lace. The cover sweater is a perfect example with all these little details. I think it's well done. My only thing is I wish the sizing was better on some of the tops.
Yeah.
But that's not something that I couldn't fix with some math.
Yeah. And typically that's not the designer, it's an editorial choice.
Yes.
Because of space. So that is
New Lace
Knitting by Romi Hill. Again, it retails for $24.99 in the U.S. Thank you so much, F&W Media, also known as Interweave, for sending that our way. So I like that one a lot. There's a couple things in there, especially the shawls that I really, really like that might end up with me. We have a question from Island Field, and she actually PM'd this to me, and I thought it was so interesting. I think I read it to Leslie, and I was like, I'm going to ask her if we can talk about this on the podcast.
That's funny you're going to ask me. That's so cute.
We'll ask you and then ask her if it was okay with her. So she asked me the question, how is yarn from an electric spinner different than wheel spun yarn? I understand that they are both called handspun, but if the yarn is spun on an electric spinner, it seems more commercial. I've never used an electric spinner, so I don't know how it compares technically for the user. It seems like yarn from a wheel would be more precious. So that just opened my whole brain turning.
I can see that perspective. I really can.
So would you consider spindle spun yarn, taking this one step further, like spindle spun yarn then would become even more precious than wheel spun yarn?
That would be a natural logical extension, is if, because we're talking effort, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's the assumption. With a wheel, with an electric wheel, you don't have to do the treadling.
Talking about effort and love, Leslie.
Effort plus love equals profit. Um, that's totally going to be the title. If we're
No,
talking,
because okay, so we're
yeah,
talking about effort.
it it would be quote unquote easiest to create a hand spun yarn on an electric wheel. The next step down being a Castle or Saxony wheel.
So let's talk about how these wheels differ. So with an electric spinner, e-spinner, you're not treadling,
Right.
but
The
you're
only thing you have to
still
worry
doing
about is your hands.
you're still doing the drafting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you're saying the next step down would be
A Castle wheel or like a matchless. I don't know what kind that's called. Like,
that's a castle.
oh, so a Castle or a Saxony then.
Yes.
Um,
I would, if you want to get super specific, you could say the next step is like a double treadle
versus a
Saxony
single
production
treadle.
wheel,
Yeah.
and then a double treadle castle, and then a single treadle Saxony, depending on wheel size.
Going
And
all the way down to like a
spindle.
Golding spindle, going down to like a CD and Dowell
How about a
spindle.
Charka?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, I think a Dowell spindle and a Golding would, I mean, that's the same thing.
but I wouldn't say so, because one is going to make it a lot easier for you to spin a yarn that may be precious to you. It's going to be easier for you, if you're an experienced spinner, to spin that on a tool that's made specifically for that versus taking two separate pieces of, you know, equipment and mashing them together to create a new tool that will create this, but it's not going to do it easily or as well.
So in my head, this is how I kind of equate this. Because, you know, I've been watching Great British Bake Off a ton. So an e-spinner is like using one of those fancy KitchenAid mixers.
Heck yeah.
Which Leslie and I both have. But Leslie uses hers a lot more, and she makes crazy things like ice cream with the ice cream attachment. Whereas maybe doing it on a treadle wheel might be like hand beating the dough.
Well, no, that would be like a handheld mixer.
Oh, okay. So
right?
Handheld mixer, and then spindle spinning would be wooden spooning.
Would be like creating handmade whipped cream just by doing this.
With a whisk.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a difference in, or it would be like getting a bag of Oreos for commercial yarn versus handmade Oreos.
But in the end, I really think it's
but
all
in the end,
perception.
It's all perception and what works.
It's what I would say, don't let anybody decide that for you. I mean, maybe there is a clinical definition out there of what handspun how it has to be made in order to be considered handspun. But if there is
spun by hands, I'm guessing.
I would say you're kind of killing not the person that's asking the question, but at some point it's a handmade craft, whether you're doing it on an electric wheel or
it's
spindle.
Like the sock machines.
Or the electric machine knit, like the flat pieces that you can machine knit. Is that still hand knit? Technically, yeah, I guess it kind of would be. I mean,
you're putting forth a lot of effort. But
yeah,
it's time that person putting in.
It's perception above all other things.
Oh yeah, because all yarn's gonna knit the same.
But I think it's an excellent question for discussion.
Yes, I knew that this would be a good discussion one, so I wanted, and we didn't discuss it ahead of time. I just asked Leslie if she wanted to answer this question.
So I encourage the people in our group to chime in on that discussion.
Yes, definitely.
Because I'm curious to hear what other people think qualifies an item as being handmade. You know, hand spun or hand knit or.
Yeah. Is there technically a difference? No. At the end of the day, between an e-spinner and you can spin the same yarn on an e-spinner that you do on a wheel, any kind of wheel. So technically there's not, but
yeah, I mean, if you're not going to qualify the difference in handmade cookies that you mixed everything by hand versus using an electric mixer, then you can't differentiate between spun on an electric wheel versus a spindle or a castle wheel or something. So it's all perception.
And I do love some good Oreos, so I'm always up for some commercial yarn.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes, like, I mean, it goes into hand-dyed yarn, too. Is hand-dyed yarn more precious than commercial dyed?
Yeah. So it's all perception. And thank you for the excellent question. That is a very good question.
Good question. What are you reading?
Oh, God. All kinds of... So I got access to a whole bunch of books, and so I've been going back and forth between G.A. Aiken and Thea Harrison, with the Elder series from Thea Harrison and the Dragonkin series from G.A. Aiken. So I've read from G.A. Aiken About a Dragon and What a Dragon Should Know.
Did you get all the Shelley Lawrensons too? Because that's the same person as G.A. Aiken.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But I just started Last Dragon Standing, which is mostly about the redheaded daughter in the dragon family. Kita.
No, okay, yeah. The poisoner.
You're thinking of the witch's daughter. Izzy. I think hers is going to be the next book. Or maybe the one after. Because I'm assuming she's going to end up with the blue dragon. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And then... on Thea Harrison's side, I've been reading Storm's Heart, which was about who is a Thunderbird who fell in love with, or mated with, the Dark Fae princess, Ninian.
Yes.
And then the next book was called Serpent's Kiss, and it was about the vampire, which kind of irritated me a little bit, because it was this, like, super badass vampire lady she'd been a vampire since before the Egyptians, built the pyramids, and she went through all the Roman Empire and all this stuff, right? But now she's helpless and she needs a man to save her. And so that kind of irritated me.
She kind of has like an Alzheimer's thing going on.
Yeah, where she sort of blanks out. But still, it's very much... She fell a little too quickly into the rescue me.
My least favorite of them. I think Kinked is my favorite.
I haven't gotten there yet. But so that's what I've been reading, and I'm listening to Bayou Moon, the same one I was listening to.
Oh.
It's gotten better.
That's good.
The chick found out dude's a changeling, but he doesn't know that she knows yet. And tomorrow they're all going to be in a big fight anyway. And anyway, so that's where I am. What about you? What are you reading?
I finished the Steel and Stone series by Annette Marie, which was really good. And I think the next one comes out in March or April. So that one was good. I've been watching The Librarians. I'm almost done with season 2. Noah Wiley's starting to get on my nerves.
Yeah, you might need a break. Sometimes you do.
Yeah, I do. I miss Bob Newhart. Although I do like the guy from Night Court, John Latimer. I think that's his name. Anyway, and then
Was it John Larroquette?
Yes, Larroquette. There you go. Latimer is the Toy Story dude, I think. Anyway. And I'm listening to the second in the Charlie Davidson series, which is the Grim Reaper series.
Oh, yeah.
She found out the guy that she really likes is the son of Satan.
Oh, no. Or does it just make it hotter?
It just makes it hotter.
Because you never know.
Makes me blush a little bit more in the car.
Speaking of. I signed up. I have the Roku box in my living room and bedroom, and I haven't had cable in ages. I generally either watch Netflix or Amazon Prime, and we use the crap out of Amazon Prime for shipping stuff.
Yeah.
But I signed up for they started adding on the ability where you can subscribe to like Starz or Showtime or HBO. Well, HBO is a separate channel, but so I signed up to try out HBO for a month because it was a free month or something. And I watched a couple of movies.
Oh, you're going to talk about 50 Shades of Grey.
And then I was like, 50 Shades is on here. So, disclaimer, I didn't read the books. I read sort of a satirical review of the books. And 50 Shades of Grey.
They start out as Twilight fan fiction,
yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. which fan fiction
is usually disappointing in my experience. But I thought surely the movie can't be that bad, like because the books really poorly represented the whole dom subculture and all that sort of thing.
Surely they fixed that in the movie.
I'm like, surely it's not that. Oh, it's so awkward. Oh, it's so bad. Like,
I will never watch that movie.
I kept thinking that they would like change things so she doesn't come off as like this needy, college kid, and he doesn't come off as this like totally overbearing,
whole, like,
my $1 billion can fix everything kind of dude.
But the whole thing, like the whole Bella Twilight thing, was the same way. Like she was super needy. Yeah. She couldn't do anything.
She's awkward and nobody loves me.
And the first book starts off talking about her death. Like that's the first sentence. So it's all like, oh, I'm gonna sit here staring by the windows, just moping, waiting for my life to solve itself. Like, so I knew going in. I haven't read the books or seen the movie of 50 Shades, but I knew going in that I was like, if this is the type of hero people like, that like this kind of thing, it's not for me.
Well, and that's like a lot of the books that I read a lot of like Shifter, paranormal, that sort of thing, but anything that has billionaire in the title, I skip right over. Like I don't even care. I don't need to know how much money you have, and every time we have a problem, I'll just do something expensive and you'll forgive me. And anyway, this movie was so awkward. I kept having to stop it and walk away and be like, oh, it can't be that bad.
Life. I do that with the librarians too. Like that's my everyday life.
Yeah, I can't. It kept being so bad, and then it kept getting worse. So
there's episodes with Big Bang Theory too. I have to stop and walk away from.
Well, that at least is intended to be funny and quirky. This is intended to be like a romantic movie. Like, anyway, don't waste your time on 50 Shades unless you're playing like a drinking game or something.
Ooh, what could you do? What kind of drinking game could you with 50
Every time she bites her lip, you could take a shot. Every time he says
trash really
Anna.
Fast,
every time he spends money on something for her, you take a shot. You be drunk in 20 minutes. Every time he does something aggressive and she just blows it over, like she goes to visit her mom to get a break from him, and he shows up. Like, across the country, he just shows up. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm here. Like, and that's okay. Anyway, sorry, I've been on a rant. I'm going to step back from that because you're not watching this to hear a rant about how terrible 50 Shades of Grey is.
So, Outlander has a coloring book, and I almost bought it for you the other day.
I keep seeing, like, the coloring books when I go to, like, Michael's or Joann's. I see them especially. And they're cute. Like, I just can't. I would feel guilty spending any time coloring because I would be like, I could be knitting. I could be spinning.
It's really one more hobby.
Yeah.
Although it could be like,
I appreciate it. I mean, I think it's pretty, and you could do some pretty things and frame them or whatever.
I like the postcard ones.
I haven't seen those.
There's an Outlander one.
Okay, what else? I think we can probably take down the craft management thing.
We can take down that. If you want some great ideas on goals, there's still the goal page that people are posting on our forums. I will be at DFW the last weekend of March, first weekend of April. It's actually the first weekend of April. We will both be at Maryland Sheep and Wool in May.
Yep.
That'll be that won't be.
Wait, have we asked Jane if we can stay with her? Because we should probably do that.
No, but we can always get a hotel.
Jane, can we stay with you again?
Jane and Wayne are the best.
They are.
I will text her. I need to send her something anyways, so I will text her and ask. Or we'll just have Jess text for us. Jess is like her...
Because she likes Jess.
She likes us, too. She's the sweetest. She brought me Nance's mustard at SAF.
Oh.
Jane did.
I could bring you some at Maryland.
She's the best. Now I have like 10 bottles.
Oh, okay.
I need to work through those. No, there's a tea that we always go to Wegmans when because Wegmans is like a big deal when you don't have good grocery stores near you. So we go to Wegmans at Maryland, and I buy like all the teas and stuff that I can't get down here, and then I stockpile them. I do that when I go and visit my brother and sister-in-law. We always go to Wegmans, and I stockpile things. Like the hoarder that I am. But Nance's mustard is the best. If you're looking for a mustard that's not too vinegary, but is just right and is creamy, the best mustard.
How do we get on these topics?
I don't know. We're talking about we're going to be at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and we'll be at the podcaster meetup. And I am saying it right now. I'm not going to buy any more fleeces until I get done with at least 3 fleeces.
So you better start washing.
Like cleaning them, not processing, but getting them clean and out of trash bags. I have 6 total right now, still in trash bags. But that includes the Romney, the 10-pound Romney that I'm working my way through. So I do not want to get any more fleeces until I get at least 3 done. So that means that I need to get washing.
Yeah.
So that I can buy fleece in Maryland. I don't think I'll be tempted by fleece at DFW. You're going to be at Vogue Knitting Live, like...
in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Michael found out he has to fly to Vegas the week before. So he gets home super duper late Friday night. And then Saturday, I go to Vogue Knitting Live. I ride the train up to Vogue Knitting Live. So he'll be home. At least Kobe will have an adult here. So that's something.
Kobe's old enough, though, that he can...
Yeah, but I would feel awkward if, like, Michael's in Las Vegas and I was out of state as well. Yeah, that's a little much.
Too far.
If I was just running into Philly for a couple hours, that would be one thing, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a giveaway, right?
We do. We have the giveaway of the Shalimar yarns, which is right up here.
Let me pull up my random number generator.
Lamaful. So this is Shalimar's Erie in the Whale's Tail colorway. It is a superwash merino, kid mohair, and silk blend. It's a single. It's really, really nice to work with, and it's really pretty.
And I'm choosing between number 2 and what?
Hold on. Let me close.
I will not hold on.
You better hold on. Very busy here. There are... Oh, let me make it big, because I can't read small things, because I'm getting old. 165 posts.
Okay. All right, so between the numbers 2 and 165.
But you can't choose 2 because it's just.
I can too choose 2, but it probably won't. 3.
That's Knits with Doxies.
Awesome.
She's only tried Breath, Big Green, and DK, but loves them both. Would like to try other bases? Well, here you go.
Here you go.
Sorry, Jess.
You totally jinxed her. That was hilarious.
So Knits with Doxies, send me, Lala, a PM with your address and your real name, and I will mail that out to you. Where's she from? Let's take a look. Oh, Mount Shasta, California. I'm totally butchering that. Anyway, cool. So Knits with Doxies. We have another giveaway for next week. It is the Infinite Twist kit for Behind the Sun. That right there.
Is it that colorway?
No. It is the Jadeite colorway.
Oh, so it's shades of like green and gray.
Yeah. That gray is the contrast, and then that green is the gradient, and some of the green is sparkly.
Oh, so cool.
And it comes with all the yarn, which is hand spun. It comes with 2 needles, a pencil, all those of my favorite stitch markers, and the pattern. So all this could be yours. And there will be a thread in the Ravelry group. It will ask you your favorite of the Infinite Twist kits, because she's got a lot.
She does.
Should always be Whiz Popper. If you do end up ordering anything from Infinite Twist, if you would let her know that you came from us, that would be helpful. So she knows that doing things like supplying kits for free as giveaways is actually useful and gets her traffic. That would be wonderful. So Infinite Twist, any of her kits was Popper, and I will have that thread up. I'll probably open it as soon as this ends while I'm thinking about it. What else do we have to talk about? I am in love with sour cream that comes in the squeeze tube, by the way.
Where did that come from?
It's one of my favorite things.
Oh.
I didn't put it in the show notes, but
sour cream in a squeeze tube.
Have you not seen that? Daisy, instead of doing like, they still do like the
when I
containers.
buy things from Wawa, Superior, because I have Wawa.
No, not the little squeeze tubes.
No,
Like,
it's a
yes,
long one. Oh, you mean like for home use,
yes.
not
Have you not?
individual use? No.
There's a big, giant,
How do you keep
like,
it fresh if you don't use the whole tube?
well, it's like, you know how the Hellman's mayonnaise comes in the squeeze tubes? Or the
Yeah.
cast. Okay, it's
Oh,
like
you don't mean
that.
tube. You mean like
Well, it is a
bottle.
yeah.
So is it a bottle or is it a
No,
tube?
it's like a hybrid of the two. You'll have to look for it now. It's a Daisy sour cream, and it comes in that.
Okay,
And
I'm going to
the
put an image
container
of it
of,
here
I
so
will
other
post
people
it.
will know what we're talking
No,
about.
it's amazing. So instead of having to grab a spoon and dollop out
First world
sour,
problems.
you can just squeeze it, and you can make patterns. It's awesome on nachos and chili. So Emperor beefs.
Daisy squeezable sour cream.
It's amazing.
Oh God, that looks like face cleaner. That's what it looks like.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway,
You need to get some. What else do we have going on?
we have the craft all the things.
Yes, the craft all the things.
Trying a new technique or whatever.
Yeah, new technique, craft all the things. So any technique that is new to you, or that is not how you spell the word technique, or nor is that, but I'm gonna fix it. Any new to you technique or something that you have not done very much in the past and would like to improve on. For me, warping a loom. I've never done it by myself. That would be good. Or weaving. I've done one plain weave. Or Leslie doing the herringbone, because you've never done that before. But it can also. Are you lost in like the Daisy sour cream?
No, I'm getting the Patreon thing ready.
Okay. I thought you were still looking up Daisy sour cream.
Don't question me.
So you can craft anything new or different. It can be any craft: crochet, weaving, spinning, tatting, baking, sewing, quilting, anything you can think of. Costume making. Ooh, clothing. That would count. Seamstressing. Altering.
Seamstress.
Cobbling your own shoes. Woodworking.
Well, all right then.
What else? I have to think of some other interesting crafts. No.
Canning.
Canning. Sure. Apple buttering. All right, are you ready for Patreon?
No, keep thinking.
Keep thinking of other crafts. So my parents, under favorite things for Wheezy and Mom, pickleball. They are obsessed with pickleball. There's a pickleball league in Maryville, Tennessee.
What is pickleball?
Pickleball is kind of like tennis, but you use one of those wiffle balls, and it's got different rules. Like you have to serve from like your waist. You can't overhand serve. We played it in gym when I was in school.
Okay.
But Wheezy's like obsessed, and there's like a pickleball. Now I have to find it. There's a pickleball league. Ooh, there's actually a pickleball league in Memphis. I could totally be into pickleball. And now I'm just really killing time while you do your Patreon thing. I'm totally linking pickleball.
Cancel.
But it's been like a long time since I've seen pickleball. So it was an and it's kind of a weird, I shouldn't say weird, it's a different sport. So now I'm linking pickleball in the show notes.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready? So for the handspun, which is this lovely bit of light up goodness.
I got a lovely bit of coconuts.
Fiddly-dee.
All right, so for that one, and the way that we pull these, the amounts are listed on the Patreon pledge page. Patreon is a way that you can help support us and the costs of running the show, as well as mailing prizes and all that stuff. The link is on the Knit Girls webpage, or it's just patreon.com/TheKnitGirls. You can support us with as little as $1 per episode, or any amount you choose. There are different rewards for each amount. All right, so let me verify that I am looking at the right column. Yep. All right, so anybody who pledges $3 per episode is entered in to win that particular skein of core spun fancy dewy lights. And the way that my sheet is organized, that's going to be rows 109 through row 138. So I'm going to pull up on my random number generator. I'm going to refresh it so that it has a clean thing. Alright, so it's going to be row 109 through row 138. Is that correct? That is correct. Alright. Oh, I can't see the thing. There we go. So 109 through 138. I have not pushed the button.
Yep.
Push the button. It's going to be number 125, which according
to
my sheets is Ashley Yunker. I hope I'm saying that right. Ashley.
So send me a PM.
Yes, Ashley Yunker from Silver Springs, Maryland. If that's you, PM Laura, and send her your address so that let her know that you won the handspun lights.
Yep.
And she will send you the lights. I have your actually I have her address, so you don't need her to PM you.
Oh, okay.
I have it, so I will send it to you. And
awesome.
then the second prize is commercial yarn. And this is some absolutely beautiful yarn from Stacy of Mustache Yarns. This is her Sesame Street colorway, and it's her OCD pack, so it's 2 individual skeins that perfectly match from beginning to end. And this
it's
is
from SSK 2014.
This is the 80/20 merino nylon, so it's 463 yards. So anyone with a pledge of $250 gets entered into that. So it's going to be rows 60 through row 107. So we're going to refresh this. And we're going to pull 60 through 107. 107. Sorry, I can't actually show you guys those people's names. So 60 through 107. Haven't pushed the button yet. Push the button. It is number 95, and that is going to be Pakasha Younger from Ruidiso, New Mexico. Ruidiso, New Mexico. So Pakasha, congratulations. I have your address, so I will send this to you as well.
Yay!
Well, it'll be packaged by Mr. Awesome because he enjoys packing things up and shipping them. So
he's like our shipping monkey.
He is our shipping monkey. I should get him a tag that says Mr. Awesome Shipping Monkey.
Oh, you should, or a t-shirt.
But I think that's it. Thank you to anyone who helps us out on Patreon.
Yes.
We very sincerely appreciate it, no matter what.
Did you mail me the thank yous?
They are going out tomorrow because I had to finish your cross-stitch thing, so it's all going in one big package.
Yeah.
So,
wonderful. Yay!
Yay!
I'm gonna get this giant package, and my postman's gonna freak out.
Will be a giant package. Anyway, I think that's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
Nope. I wasted all my spare brain cells coming up with pickleball.
Well, we hope you guys have a lovely week, and we will see you again next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.